All right. It is my privilege to introduce John Ward to share his job search. I don't think it was a long job search. So, John, it's all you.
Yeah, Steve, I know you say that, but I'm sure, I mean, people might disagree with me, but it felt like forever. So, and spending so much time doing this is not what I wanted to do. But so let me tell you about my journey. About a month or two before I was actually laid off, and I got laid off back in end of April. So I actually found out that I was going to get laid off. I had some advance warning. I actually wasn't supposed to know. I had a trusted individual come and talk to me about it and say, basically tell me start looking for a job. So I had to pretend at work that everything was normal while I was preparing for the opposite. And one smart thing I did during that window was I started therapy. I've never done therapy before, but I figured I had benefits. There had been times that I thought about doing therapy, so let's just do this before like I get laid off and lose those benefits. Um, then the layoff happened. I was actually sitting in this room. This is my office. Um, I had 14 years at CHG, so it definitely wasn't a small thing. I did get a severance and a month of benefits, but this room where it actually happened it had a lot of negative weight, if you will. After that, I posted about the layoff and opened to work on LinkedIn, generic post, no traction, and just was quiet. Um, I would say the middle part of my job search was the hardest. I continued therapy, which is helpful, but there was days I was just too depressed to even search. My wife would find me on the couch not doing anything, and I just like figured she'd start chewing me out or be disappointed. Gratefully, she's an amazing woman. She would tell me, "Hey, you deserve a break. This is hard." And that probably mattered more than anything I did in the job search. She also gratefully was able to land full time work with benefits. So when my benefits lapsed, hers covered our health benefits, so didn't have to have that stress on us. So that really helped. Um, uh, so my benefits and therapy ended about at the end of May. But two things my therapist told me that kept for me was to plan my day. So every night I would before going to bed I would plan what how many jobs I was going to apply for, what I was going to do, put in breaks. I was also started doing training. I went out and got myself a Udemy um, subscription for a year. So I was taking courses. I only got went through one course, but it was looked good on the resume. So I think that might have helped me. Um, she also told me that my therapist also told me to change this room. So I used to sit over here, and like because of all that negative energy in this room, and I'm saying these things, and I'm thinking to myself, this is all like some of you might be thinking this is all BS or whatever, but like and I'm not usually that kind of guy, but vibes is not that big of a deal to me, if you will. But changing the room itself helped so much because I wasn't like thinking this is where I got fired, or laid off, and this kind of sucks. And so changing it also like I feel like it made it better for interviews. I like my background with all the Marvel and DC characters behind me, so I got actually a lot of questions about it interviews. It was kind of fun opener to kind of lighten the mood. Let's see what else. Sorry, I got notes over here. Um, okay, so around this time, I also started a meeting with Steve. The coaching was super helpful. I went to the Wasatch Employers Network, I think it stands for, and started using AI for my resumes and started actually keeping track of my applications instead of just sending them out into the void. Um, I kind of hit a wall too. So I had a few IC roles or individual contributor roles. They passed on me because my leadership background and my salary was making me look overqualified and expensive. So I actually started applying for leadership or other roles that were well below what I was making before, like 45 or 40 to 45% less than I was making. Um, those were government type roles, which looked good. I mean, it would have been doing the same stuff, but it wasn't, it wasn't what I was making before. With my wife working now, it wasn't awful. We could have lived on it, but we definitely would have had to make some cutbacks. I also wrote a LinkedIn post. I had AI help me write this. It was like, even though it came from my AI, it was very genuine. Like, I put all the details that I wanted to put into the AI prompt. And it did really well. I actually got over 10,000 impressions, 150 profile views, and actually helped me land an interview or two. Um, so I highly recommend, if you don't post on LinkedIn already, and I've only done a few posts on there, but if you do one or two and really make it genuine, you probably gonna get some good traction on it as well. Things started at that point, or actually just a few weeks ago, things started to get crazy. I started landing more interviews. Two of those were those government roles, one with URView Health, another one with Slick, and actually a couple other places, MIT and WGU, were looking at me as well. I like those. I like the roles, but I didn't really like the money. I kind of could see that both Slick and U of U were going to give me an offer soon. And it was, again, well below what I was making before. And I had applied for a job to another company, actually a competitor of CHG. They were looking for exactly what I was, and I was surprised that I had not heard back. It had been about 2 weeks, and I eventually just reached out to the CTO directly through LinkedIn and told them, "Hey, this is me. I've 14 years at your biggest competitor, doing exactly what you want or asking for in this job description. It might not fit like all the same tools, but here I am." And that got me the interview. I interviewed on the following Thursday and let them know, "Hey, I already have an offer from U of U. I had a verbal offer at that time." And he asked, the CTO is actually one of the people that interviewed me, and asked, like, why don't I want that? And I'm like, it's not exactly doing the same things. But that helped really accelerate that process. So we met on Thursday, and we met again on Friday with a different team of individuals. And then on that Monday, the following Monday, I had an offer in hand. Really cool. Very excited about it. Making almost exactly what I was making before in this exact same role as a senior manager. Very excited about it. I will say, though, when I went and interviewed at Slick, I probably would have accepted that if I didn't have this other offer. I was very impressed with their team, impressed with the work I would have been doing, even though it would have been different. I'm a data engineer. That would have been more business intelligence. Still, obviously, working with data, but different. Sorry, am I getting interrupted? Yeah. Okay.
Not that I know of.
Okay, sorry. And so just very happy with the role that I'm getting. I think, yeah, very excited to start. And the nice thing too is I've got a big volunteer thing that I'm doing next week, and they were happy to let me start the week after that. So, and it's kind of cool. I actually just got an email from the CTO just checking in to make sure that everything's still good, and it looks like it's going to be a fun job. I'm very excited about it. So that's me. Any questions?
Hey, John, I was wondering, how long did it take between when you got laid off to landing this job that was comparable to what you had?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because I actually started job searching before I got laid off, right? Because I knew it was coming. I found out probably early March that it was coming. And I wasn't really applying very hard. It was actually like my birthday is March 23rd, and the person that told me, I asked him, "Hey, is this a definite thing?" And then he found out actually on my birthday, which was a Friday. And so he didn't want to ruin my birthday and the weekend and let me know on that following Monday. Yeah, it's 100%. There's no saving you. And yeah, that sucked. Kind of ruined the after party at least. But yeah, so I would say end of March till last week. So whatever that is, 3-4 months.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing your story. And I appreciate the human element of it regarding going to therapy and just kind of working on some of the energetic, kind of more feng shui
Yeah.
way that your office is set up, right? Because I found myself doing the same thing. I moved my desk and I'm going to paint, and I got rid of some of the clutter, and it's made a big difference for my mindset as well, as far as just kind of feeling like it's a new beginning instead of like having my desk where it was for the 8 years of the job that I had remote. So
Mhm.
I do appreciate that part as well, and sharing, and not just, your job search, but also kind of the human element of it. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the human element's huge, right? Like this feng shui and all that. I mean, a year or two ago, I'd have called that BS, but it really helped. Like I've got a college age daughter who is all about the vibes, right? And I've heard the term vibes so often from her, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But now I'm like, okay, the vibes actually matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing also that you were so depressed on some days, because,
Oh yeah.
some days I wake up super motivated, and like today I'm dragging a little bit, feeling kind of down and a little bit depressed about the whole situation, and just you know, hoping to be able to keep motivated. So I appreciate you sharing a lot.
Yeah. And another thing that helped me with that was that scheduling the day, right? So, and giving myself leeway, right? So I would say I would wake up between, I'd actually put it on my calendar for the next day. Wake up between this hour, shower between this hour. And like sometimes I wouldn't do that. That was fine. And I would give myself a break, because I think all of us are very hard on ourselves. We've lost our jobs, or we're looking for a job, and it's a difficult thing. So don't be too hard on yourself, but schedule your day out so you have that schedule. So wake up, shower, whatever you're going to do, eat breakfast and all that. And then, I'm going to apply for 4 jobs during this hour, or I'm going to apply for jobs. It doesn't, don't have to pick a number. Sometimes I would pick a number. Sometimes I would just say, I'm going to apply for jobs during this hour, and then take a break. And then I'm going to do a short course on Udemy or wherever I can do a course. And then do laundry for an hour or something like that. Just having that, and I would plan it out on my phone each hour of the day until 5 o'clock. And at 5 o'clock, I was done. No more job searching, no more other things like that. I'd still plan out some of the evening, do more laundry, do more chores, eat dinner, stuff like that. But really that 5 o'clock hour, I was done job searching unless something active was happening with that. I found that very helpful. I wasn't always in the search. And I was like, we're so used to, when we're working, we're so used to that schedule every single day. We don't really want to get out of that schedule.
Right. Right. And then when you say that you used AI to apply for jobs, do you just mean like customizing your resume to like meet a job description, or is there an actual way that like you can upload your resume and AI would apply for jobs that match?
Yeah. So definitely the first. I was using AI to customize my resume to match the job description.
Okay.
Right, because you can't fit. I think maybe it was Steve that told me this, that you can't fit everything you've done on a page or two, and so you can't have one general resume. It needs to fit the job description as best as possible. When I went to Win, I actually got a lot of good advice from, I think her name was Tannen. Steve, you have to help me out with that.
Yeah, Tannen Ellis.
Yeah. So she was like, hey, if they're asking for a Big Mac, you better be the Big Mac. And maybe you don't have the sesame bun, but you can say, here's how I'm working and getting those sesames on my bun. That sounds really bad. But
again, I think Steve had referenced something like that last week. So yeah.
So a lot of good information I got there as well. So I highly recommend going to Win at least once and telling your story. And they're just there to help you out. I thought that was awesome.
Thank you. And Steve, as far as when goes, I know there was one last Wednesday, I believe, that I couldn't attend. How often do they run those?
They run them every month, the first Wednesday of the month.
Okay.
The good and bad news. What's the good and bad news? Good news is it is every month. The used to be only in person, and then they started doing it virtually every other month. So because of COVID, we all went virtual, and it was virtual for a good year or two. And then we also we'd like to see each other in person again. So we toggle it back and forth, and it's the first Wednesday of the month at 9 o'clock. There is a Wasatch Employer Network, not a very fancy site, but if you go to that, again, I know you're not in Utah, but it's another resource.
Okay. And then you'll send out the invite like you did for the July one for, I guess it would be September if it's every other month.
Yep.
Okay, great.
And if
Thank you.
if our virtual one or our in-person one does both hybrid, we did that for a long time, but I haven't seen it for a while.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You bet. And I wasn't sure who was talking at first, but there we got. Okay, got that there. Okay. I'm just going to go through. I'm just going to go through the Zoom for anybody who's brand new. So we let everybody have a few minutes to talk, ask questions, whatever. The one person I was going to go to, and I'm looking here, but I don't see her. I think she bounced off was Kaylin, because Kaylin also worked at CHG for a very long time. But first person we'll go to is Jeff, who is sitting right next to at the WEN meeting.
Hey, Jeff.
Thanks for that. I think a lot of it is the same. It's planning out your day, knowing your stressors. I've too have been meeting with a therapist. It's helpful to be able to kind of go get a different perspective. Even the WEN meetings. And Steve's invited me to a lot of different things. We each have different things going on in our lives, but I tell this to everybody in the job search. It's get out of your house, go out and connect, whether it's the WEN, whether it's different things. One of those I have to thank Steve for this is the WEN. I was there with Tannen, and then I was on the virtual, and we call them the Three Musketeers. Steve will know who I'm talking about. In WEN, and I hopped on Wednesday for that meeting, and I had an interview, and just something I said about an interview and interaction, one of them lit up with the connections that they had. And it was because of those connections that they had that I honestly think I got an interview. And still waiting to hear back. But I did what Steve did and reached out to a couple people just to thank you. Those people, those Three Musketeers were part of my thank you, and then reached out to see if they would connect again in person with some of the people that I interviewed, and it was a resounding yes. We'll do it anytime. Thanks for the invitation to do this. And it's just, you don't know the connections you're going to make and how they'll impact your job search. So thanks for that. And just kudos to what you've done and being able to sit by you and kind of pick your brain at that WEN experience.
Thanks, Jeff. And John, Tannen is one of what we call the Three Musketeers. Okay.
I'm not surprised.
Next up is Debbie.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the different things where you get so used to having a schedule that when you don't have that schedule, that I found me, thinking I needed to take a break, but definitely feeling lost as far as trying to feel motivated or trying to get going. I think so many times we try to, feel like we can do it. We work independently and everything else. I mean, joining this team has been the best thing for me. When I've been laid off in the past, I was super lost and super depressed. And right now, you know, I feel like I'm not alone, I guess, and hearing from the different things of the different ways, you know, people are approaching, looking for work and networking. Those are things that I would have not done before. You know, and to follow up and to put it out there to one of the competitors saying, "Hey, I've got this." That to me was, you know, I mean, way to go. That's pretty cool. Um, but the schedule thing that you talked about, John, that just sounds wonderful because we're so used to having the schedule and having things to do that keeps you busy through the day. So when you don't, it's hard to, you know, not go into dark spaces or different things. But thank you for your positive and letting us know about that and the follow up, you know, with the competitors. I don't know that's just something that they'd be paused to think this morning. Thank you.
Yeah. No, so on that, on reaching out to the competitors, I think I was meeting with Steve one time and he's like, "Hey, what industry would you want to work in?" I'm like, "I'm a data engineer. I can work in any industry." And it didn't click. Or I think at one point it clicked. I'm like, wait a minute. I have 14 years experience doing healthcare staffing. There are other healthcare staffing companies out there. I'm going to look a lot better to them than I'm going to be at like a software company, right? That has a different set of data. And when I think is it Adam Burke? Is he on the call still? He'll probably agree with me on this. The hardest thing about writing SQL or SQL code for data people is knowing the data. And so knowing the data and go in that industry is going to be a much bigger advantage than knowing the specific tools that they're using. And so I that just clicked in the meeting with Steve one time. I'm like, okay, I need to reach out to people like this, or reach out to companies like this. And it really surprised me when this other company wasn't reaching back out to me. And so I had never done it anymore. I'm a very introverted, well, my wife says I'm an outgoing introvert, but I'm very introverted. Don't like reaching out to people like that, and doing that cold call and reaching out to the CTO like that was a big stretch for me, and I'm so happy it paid off.
Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks, Debbie. Did you do that through LinkedIn? Is that how you reached out to him?
Yes, you just sent a LinkedIn request with a quick note saying, "Hey, I've got 14 years of experience, or 14 years of experience at CHG," which he would have known of because they're the biggest healthcare staffing company. And yeah, and then a little bit like I was said I was a senior data engineer manager over there, 14 years experience. So very quick, had to be under 200 characters. And he reached out to me the next Monday and say, "Hey, well, look where we are in the hiring process." So
cool.
Yeah.
Sean? Next up is Sean.
I want to say congrats on all of that. And the organizational part for me is what's clicking, and that's what's keeping me organized right now. And in the right process. And that's what I like about the whole thing. I don't have any questions for you really, but congratulations. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. And it's landed me more interviews. It's landed me good interviews. I haven't got a job yet or an offer, but it's the organizational part and getting it down to where you can shut it off at a certain time during the day and not think about it and get out and do something else that I think has helped my mind a lot. So
yeah,
good.
Completely agree with you, Sean. Thank you.
Hey, Sean, I just wanted to ask, Steve had sent out an email with, it was supposed to be your slides from your presentation, and it's not opening. Like, I don't know, there's something wrong with the file. Is there any way we can get that slideshow just in a PowerPoint?
Yeah, I've got it on Keynote. I don't know how you want me to do that. I can post my email on the chat, and you can email me, and I can just email it directly to you. I'm working on Mac, so it's in Keynote, but it should open for you.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you. I was trying to open it over the weekend.
Okay. Next up
Emails in the chat.
Next is Christina.
Hey, John, congratulations.
Thank
Love
you.
hearing about your process. It reminded me so much of the Atomic Habits book. Um, and I read some of that where you stay consistent, you always have a plan, you plan your schedule, and you stick with it. I'm curious to know if you've ever been distracted within your plan because I have this bad habit of like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I end up on social media. And there's
100,
times where, yeah, there's times where I'm just sitting in front of the computer and I'm just like, I just can't think. I can't focus and I have to get out. I got to get coffee. I got to do other stuff. So would love to hear about your process there.
yeah, 100%. And I think my therapist saw that I was too hard on myself, or maybe it was more general. We didn't meet for very long, so maybe she didn't know me that well, but and just was a general conclusion that most people are just too hard on themselves. Um, but she said, give yourself leeway. If you don't end up doing it, that's fine. You know what? You plan it out. Like, don't do it every single time, right? But give yourself some leeway. Um, yeah, social media, mobile gaming was a huge distraction for me. Yeah, and I would find myself spending a few hours on my phone doing stupid things that weren't very helpful. Um, but there are also stress relievers. And yeah, I probably could have, maybe I would have landed a job faster if I didn't do that. But it wouldn't have been this opportunity because this would came up, just a few weeks before I got the job offer, right? So yeah, it'll happen. Like the job will come, and so give yourself that leeway. And maybe like, hey, if you find yourself jumping on something else and maybe it's ADD, I don't know, ADHD or whatever, or it's just, set a timer, right? Set a timer for when, hey, I need a break. I'll be on my phone for 15 minutes, right? And set that timer. I can find myself, if I don't set that timer, I will be on my phone for hours. So definitely a big distraction and find ways. Yeah, I know when I'm working, the phone is a huge distraction, so I don't bring the phone up with me this office is upstairs, so I leave it in my room. I have a smartwatch though, so if I do get calls or whatnot, I can still take those, and texts come in, so I'm not missing anything from my kids or my wife, or anything else that's important. But like keeping the phone separate from your workspace is also a good idea.
Well, I applaud your level of discipline and congratulations.
Oh, it's not that good. I think so.
One last question. You mentioned that you were gaining some traction when you posted that you were out of work on LinkedIn. So I'm curious, did you actually did you write a post? Did you say I'm looking for work and this is what I'm looking for? Did you put that out of or looking for work badge?
Yeah, so I
Uh,
definitely had the open to work badge. I like when I got laid off, like I had open to work and whatnot, but not the badge yet, before I got laid off because I knew it was coming. But when it happened, I put that generic post everybody puts out there, and put the open to work badge on there. Absolutely no traction, right? And so I got laid off, and there was three of us that got laid off during that month. So the data engineering or data platform team had only 3 people get laid off. About a month later, the company laid off 175 more people. I think my VP was just trying to get ahead of that. And so when those people got laid off, I put a post out there talking about my job or job search journey up until that point, saying, and I kept it very positive. I had AI help me write it because I just put in my points like, hey, let's keep it positive. Let's talk about this, and this. Because at that time I was starting to get some interviews and some things started to look better for me. I didn't have a job yet, but it was a very positive post, a little bit long, but not super long. And like, I don't know if it was because of the event of this company having larger layoffs and those people seeing that, but it like I said, it had 10,000 impressions, so 10,000 views, I assume is what that means. And it pushed 150 people to my profile, and I got I know I got at least one interview from that because I mentioned it, maybe possibly more. So I highly recommend putting a post out there that's heartfelt. Have AI help you write it if you want to do that, and keep it positive. And something that other people can look to and maybe get something out of. If you post a lot, maybe probably don't need to do that.
Great tip. Thank you.
No?
Next up is Kevin, and before Kevin goes, I have one quick question. I'm the career coach that doesn't always read the thing. We're good till 10:30. Is that right? I'm sorry, I didn't see that till now.
No worries. Yeah, I'm supposed to take my son to the train station, so I need to take off about 10:45 now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thanks.
Oh, hey, John. Thanks for sharing. You're also a fellow Aries baby on March 22nd, so maybe next year we can exchange cards or something like that.
Sounds fun.
I appreciate your talking about the human aspect of it and talking to someone, right? Because it's going to start sounding like a group therapy session, right? But I think that's really important. It's probably something we don't touch enough about on this group of just the humanity of it, right? Because it's so easy to creep over to your relationships, friends, or whatever. So I appreciate having that, being open and honest about sometimes, it does affect your self-esteem or your confidence. So I just appreciate the honesty. Yeah, and that's all I got, man. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Kevin. I will say this group also helped. Like I didn't attend as much as I would have liked, for good reasons. I was getting interviews, so I can't think of a better reason not to attend. But like seeing that there's a group of us that's going through the same thing, it was super helpful. And I think my first day, there was 2 people that were telling about their journey and going through that, and so that also helped. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not the only one out there. My self-confidence had taken a hit, but there's other people doing this, and it's really no fault of my own. If it's anybody's fault, it's the business decisions that the leaders above me have made.
Okay. Next is Kara.
Hey there. I don't have any specific questions, but there were a couple things that you had mentioned that struck a chord with me. I guess to reiterate for like the broader group, like things that you had done that have been helpful for me as well would be setting that schedule. I thought that was super important from the start after I kind of recouped after burnout. Mm-hmm. Just because I feel like, being like a top performer, you want to be hitting LinkedIn and doing all of the things like 24/7, 365. I think one of my old clients who became kind of a mentor to me told me after like his 4th layoff that you have to have hobbies, you have to have a life. Otherwise, you are literally going to drive yourself insane. So I joined like a book club, a pottery class, like things to just, when you're working 12-hour days and then you don't have that anymore, you're like, who am I? So structuring my day accordingly, like you said, that's been incredibly helpful. And then additionally, when you were talking about AI, I feel like I'm on Chat and Claude like all day, every day. And to your point, like putting in the job description, running that through JobScan has been incredibly helpful for me. Pulling in those keywords and actually getting past like the computer to get to the recruiter. And I didn't have that before, Steve, obviously before like I started working with you. And that's been like a game changer. So if people are not using AI, I would strongly encourage it. I mean, that saves you so much time. So yeah, John, like I think that everything that you said really resonated with me. So I think I'm on the right path, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Right. I'm not sure where he went to. I'm looking here. Give me a sec here. Is Adam still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I'm kind of similar area, just starting out with data. I guess my question would be, it's a little different time from when you started out, because I know you had experience looking for a job now, but would you have any tips for someone like me looking for a way to get my foot in the door and how to go about that?
Yeah. One thing to look at is possibly consulting. There's quite a few contracting companies out there. The biggest thing for you is experience. I've got a friend in a similar situation that just graduated with his degree in data can't remember exact title, and it has struggled to find a new job. So I would definitely look to see whatever way you can gain experience, and then broaden your network. Find people that are doing the same things, especially experienced people. You can find yourself a good mentor that'll help quite a bit as well. And then I know you were doing an internship before, right? And now you're looking
No.
for. Oh, you
No,
weren't doing
just
an
looking.
internship?
Well, that
No.
was
Okay.
Caden. They both have
Oh.
background from the same university too.
Oh.
Okay.
I think
Sorry about that.
I think Caden's still in school. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So just if you can find a good mentor, that'd be good too. And then just broaden that network as much as possible. You're going to need to find it's tough out there, especially in data. When I first got into data, I got pulled in. I was doing something completely different and needed to learn SQL. And when I did, they're like, "Hey, we need more people on the BI team." And so I jumped over there and started creating reports, and then got poached to go to CHG. And I would say for a while, I was getting recruiting calls all the time. It's not like that anymore. The pandemic pushed a lot of people into the data field. It was a pretty, anybody logical found it was a pretty quick and easy way to get into it. So look for experience. I recommend finding Coursera or Udemy or one of those and taking those courses to broaden your skill set as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thanks.
Right. Next up is Kate.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for all of the validation. And it feels sometimes like it's very lonely to be in the job search. And I loved hearing from you about struggles of getting addicted to your phone and things like that. That's been really helpful. I also love that you said that you got help from AI to help create LinkedIn posts, because at first I felt like I was cheating doing that. Come on, it's got to be authentic. But I do it myself. I find that it's a great tool. I don't always just do whatever AI says. I go back and I revise and make it sound a little bit more human. But I just wanted to say thank you for validating me in this situation, and I'm sure many others can relate. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, AI was a huge help for me. I ended up getting a Claude license and paying the $20 a month for that. I am not a great written communicator, so I had it write not only my resumes, but my post, obviously. And then anytime I was talking to a recruiter or hiring manager, through an email, I would say, "Here's what I want to get across. Help me draft an email." And it helped a ton. And maybe and then also my thank you emails. I think that helped quite a bit. People weren't or didn't see those very often, and I remember getting comments from one of the recruiters "Oh, that's so nice of you to send that." I'm like, "You're welcome." So yes, AI helped me a ton. Obviously, you want to check it. I've heard the term that AI is a very smart intern that is very comfortable lying straight to your face. So definitely check your work. One thing, I don't know if this is true or not, but dashes are kind of a giveaway that it's AI. So I tell the AI, "Hey, don't use dashes," and they'll either replace them with commas or periods or whatever, some other syntax. So avoid those if you can. Otherwise, it's kind of a dead giveaway that, hey, they're just using AI to beat the system.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is Tommy. And yeah, that M dash I haven't seen one for a while, but yeah.
I don't have any questions. Thank you for sharing, and congratulations on your new job.
Okay, Tommy, I have a question for you.
Mhm.
Why the bowling alley?
Well, Five is my current employer. One of the software developers uh, was one of his core areas was web design, and so he went around making backgrounds for everybody. And he knew I like to bowl. I'm on a bowling league, and so he made this one for me.
That's cool. That's great.
And by the way, we've taken Tommy's pictures out of a bowling alley and had AI make one for his LinkedIn. Now I got to go look at his LinkedIn, see if he's currently using it. But yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Next up is Stacy.
So congratulations, John. Thank you so much for sharing your honest, authentic story. It was helpful not just to hear from you, but also to hear everyone else's questions and comments. I think, the self-care and self-acceptance is definitely something I'm trying to lean back more into. It's not, because I am, very hard on myself in general. I haven't really been ready to like put my like 100% effort in my job search because I've had all these personal things that I've had to take care of, and I really haven't been focused. And so it's only really been like the last couple of weeks where like I've felt like more focused. But when you mentioned reorganizing your office and the feng shui and the energy, I'm sitting here in my office thinking, oh my God, look how stale it feels. And like I probably need that refresh very much. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, but I definitely feel that I need something like that. I think I heard somebody mention that it helped them change their perspective and on things and help them feel better. So I'm just wondering if that had to play into your like momentum, when you kind of reorganize your office, was there any relationship between that and, your job?
Yeah, I definitely I feel better in this room, right? So I mean, 5 feet that direction, I got laid off, and I was facing facing the wall that way. Now I have, I'm facing a different wall this way,
Right.
but like I don't know, it just feels different. It feels cleaner. This is actually quite a large room. It's the before the pandemic, it was our children's playroom.
Mhm.
And it's a mess on this side of the camera. And this side, it's very easy to keep clean. So when I have meetings, and I still have stuff on that I still need to take care of. But when I have those interviews and whatnot, it's a lot easier to say, okay, I need to clean this section. I don't need to worry about all the storage and crap over here as well. So it's helpful. It's definitely very, very helpful. And definitely, like, again, I'm coming back to the vibes or the feng shui. It feels lighter here.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna have to put that on my to-do list now. One of the things that I think I struggle with a lot is kind of, I think, I don't know if I've heard really anybody mention it, but really nobody, I don't think I've heard anybody mention around, their financial worries, I know that you said your wife got a job and that kind of helped with the benefits. And, I'm kind of in a like I don't know, it's like, I worry about it, and so I think that's where sometimes the pressure I put on myself comes from because it's
Mhm.
like I feel like I have to, rather than it's something I should just enjoy and take care of myself. And hey, if it's a day that I'm not feeling that great about stuff, then that's okay,
Mhm.
and then just to kind of accept that. But that does kind of play into my mental state. I do try not to think about it. But it's there.
Yeah, 100%. Like, so my wife's job, I mean, pays a little bit more than minimum wage, and really just got it for the benefits. She actually had a different job, working less hours. Uh, she's making more money now because she's working more hours, but she was getting paid more at the last job per hour. So it was definitely kind of a hit for her to do that, but getting those benefits is very, very helpful. And she's working at University of Utah, and so great benefits as well. So I mean, definitely a stressor off me for that. As far as financially, gratefully, I didn't have that big of a worry. We had two things that came up. One, I got a very good severance, and two, I mean, good and bad, more bad than good, but my in-laws had passed away within the last year. So we were like, at the same time, we're dealing with this, but we're also dealing with the house, and that's under contract, and so we didn't have to worry about money that much because we knew that was going to come and help us. On that fact, though, I like my self-worth of not making money anymore had taken a tank, and so I had cut back almost all of my expenses. I love eating out. I love sushi. My eating out to almost non-existent, and then said I won't get sushi until I have another job. I went and got sushi last week. But yeah, so whatever we can do to cut back on those other expenses. I'm not a finance guy, so you're gonna have to figure that out on your own. So good luck. I know that's tough.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Next is Larry Freeze.
Hello.
Larry.
Excuse me. Congratulations. I'm glad that you were able to find someone to help you mellow out and calm down, because when you're in this situation and you have a family, especially a young family, it can be extremely stressful. So I'm very happy for you, and I hope everything works out for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Next up is Tara.
Okay, I have two questions. The first one is, you said you reached out to like a competitor of your former company. So does that mean you didn't have any sort of non-compete agreement where you couldn't work for certain companies?
Yeah. So when I got laid off, all of my non-competes were taken out. So they released me from those.
And then the other is not job related, but of all those posters behind you, which one is the best superhero that you like the most?
Who of these? Actually, my favorite one is Wolverine. I have not gotten a Wolverine poster, and these actually tin. They're aluminum, and so they're not. I mean, I wouldn't call them posters, but yeah, I guess they basically are posters, but they're made of tin. Of these, probably my favorite movie out of these, and I'm a comic book. Well, I was a comic book nerd. I haven't bought a comic book in decades, but growing up, junior high for sure, and a little bit of high school, I was buying comic books pretty much every week. But so now it's just the movies, and I haven't watched a whole lot of the movies. They've all kind of gone downhill on me. But I would say Wonder Woman was probably my favorite movie out of all of these. My favorite movie I've seen is Deadpool. So big fan of those. Deadpool is just so funny. I love those. So.
Yes, no, I like the Wonder Woman movie. I like the Captain America movies, but all those things you have back there, I'm a fan. Those are great. So thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Next up is, I'm looking here, Giselle.
Hi. Yeah, no, I don't know that I really have any questions. It was great to hear your story, John. Kind of gets a little bit more motivation and momentum. And I appreciate your comment of your first one, hearing someone's story of them getting a job and stuff. So yeah, gives a little bit of momentum to continue to keep going. So yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next up is Christine.
Hey, John, congratulations. I
Thank you.
know it's a huge relief when you finally have a job offer. I have two questions. The first one is, what was it that motivated you to get into therapy when you realized that you were going to lose your job?
My wife, 100%. She mentioned it. I had talked about doing therapy before because I wasn't happy in my job, and I found myself just phoning it in. Mostly, like I had the RVP, I just did not get along with, and that's a big reason probably why I got laid off and was chosen to be one of the few that got laid off. But so I thought about it before, and my wife was just like, "Go get therapy. Like you're not only have benefits for so much longer. Just go take care of this." And I did, and it was great, very grateful for it. I probably, once I get benefits again, I'm definitely going to look into it. I guess I could do it now with my wife's benefits, but yeah, I found it very helpful. At least setting some structure around was completely unstructured, right? You know, you get laid off and you don't have a job anymore, and you lose all that structure. So she helped quite a bit with that.
And what surprised you, or what did you learn about yourself that surprised you the most?
So that's one of the things. So talking to my therapist, she's like, I don't want to go deep because we don't have time for that. And so, yeah, I would say we just didn't get into that. We talked about how I was feeling about this, and like I told her, like, hey, these are my thoughts and feelings about this, how this sucks, how, like, you know, I have a lower self-confidence and stuff like that. And she's like, all of that is valid, right? What you're feeling is valid because this does suck. And I mean, I can't remember how many times she said this sucks, right? You're in a sucky situation. And so that was nice to have, like, her just validating that. That this is a sucky situation and it's gonna suck and you're gonna do your best to get out of it. And like right before I lost my benefits, I was interviewing with a company. It was for an individual contributor role, and I was a perfect candidate. Besides the lack, me being a leader before and basically being overqualified, and I didn't get the job. I almost 100% for that reason. Like I'd done a couple of rounds of interviews, and her, like, basically saying, I have to have this job because, you know, we're not making any money anymore. If I don't get this job, I don't know what I'm going to do. And she helped me, like, talk it down. I was like, if you don't get this job, it's fine. There's other jobs out there. It's going to suck. It's going to take a while. But it's fine if you don't get this job. And I obviously I didn't get that job. I got a different job, you know, month or two later. But like, I always thought for sure, if I don't get a job in a month, then my family's going to be, I don't know, everything's going to get poopy, we'll say.
Right.
Right. And, but she helped me realize, like, no, you'll be fine.
And you are fine.
Yeah. And I am 100% fine. I'm very excited about this new role.
So I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I just want to tell you, I know we just meet in Zoom, but the first time I heard you speak, you had such a vibrant personality and energy.
Thank you.
So yeah, congratulations.
It's all a show. So
yes, the world is our stage, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you, Christine.
All right. Next up is Tammy.
Congratulations. I'm with you with this Monday morning group being very important to me. Are you working remote with this new position?
Yeah, it'll be 100% remote. They're based out in Oklahoma. That's actually one of the things I talked to the CTO about. It's like, hey, you know, I want to give you this offer, but I'm worried, right? Like, he mentioned that because I mentioned in my interview, like most important thing is building relationships. As a manager, I need to build relationships. So like the people I'm going to piss off know that I'm not trying to piss them off, basically.
Right.
And he mentioned that, and I'm like, hey, and we talked about it, and he said like, yes, I can still build those relationships to being remote. But yeah, 100% remote, and we'll figure it out.
Good, good. I'm trying to, well, I have to find a remote position. I can't work out in the world, I guess. And that's where I'm coming up with the hardest is finding actual remote jobs. I don't know if they're listing them and they're not real jobs, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my biggest complaint and everything, I guess. But thank you for communicating everything with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And Tammy, like I saw a lot of roles, like, because I on my LinkedIn and Indeed and all that stuff, I said, hey, I'm willing to work in Salt Lake or remote. And a lot of the job offers I was seeing, or not job offers, but a lot of jobs I was seeing say, hey, if you live within so many miles of the place, you have to come in the office. So if you're applying for jobs outside of that range, or maybe you change your location, or just put remote in there and say, and only apply for jobs that basically out of state, maybe you'll have better experience and have more chances of getting those 100% remote jobs.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thanks.
Hey, we're on the final countdown here. Next is Angela.
Yeah. Oh, hi. So congratulations to you. That's so exciting.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything that you've said. I just you were talking about remote and how they were a little nervous about that. Not personal, well, not directly personal, but my husband worked for a company who never, he was their first remote employee and they kind of forgot he existed. Yeah. So just if they're not used to having remote people, just stay on that. Make sure that
Yeah.
they don't forget about you. So, but things have changed, right? Companies have changed. That was many years ago when remote wasn't kind of a thing. But good luck. Congratulations. And thanks for everything that you've shared.
Yeah. Thank you, Angela. Yeah. One thing on that, I big fan of one-on-ones. So I'll be meeting with my one employee one-on-one, but I also be meeting with my boss and the other people, my stakeholders as well, as much as possible. Well, my stakeholders at least once a month, and then my boss, whatever he wants to do. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I got everybody except for Eric. And if I have forgot somebody, please let me know.
Right, John, thanks for all the information that you've shared. It's been a rough one on my end. I've been actually out of work since December, so it's been a fun one. I did post something on LinkedIn about being ghosted from all these applications that I applied for. I'm wondering if you had a lot of that happen to you.
Yeah, so I kept a list. Let me see if I can find it. Well, I don't know. But like not even getting a reply back. I don't know what was worse, was that or actually getting a deny? Because every time I got the denied letter, email, and I know Steve can quote that email by heart. It kind of it hit me, right? I took a hit to the ego and whatnot. But yeah, I probably had at least 20 jobs just not reply, where I thought I was a pretty good candidate, but they were probably looking for tools that I had not worked in before. Yeah, don't take it personally. It sucks, but don't take it personally. The one that hurt me the most is actually interviewed with the hiring manager, and he only scheduled for 30 minutes. I'm like, hey, we need more time than this. After the 30 minutes were up, and so we met. He had another interview right after that, so we met like an hour later, and we talked more. And I'm like, I am your perfect candidate for this role. but I'm guessing he was scared off again with my leadership that I had, and I was overqualified. And I reached out to probably a week after that last interview. I reached out to the recruiter, said, "Hey, I want an update." Because I sent a thank you email, and she's like, "Yeah, we'll be in touch really soon." Never heard a thing again. I reached out to the recruiter a week later. Crickets. Reached out probably 2 or 3 weeks later to the hiring manager through LinkedIn. Nothing. I eventually got a denial letter or email from them after I accepted this role. And I was like, whatever, I don't care about you guys anymore. But like, it happens. The ghosting sucks.
Yeah. Speaking of the ghosting, a job I just barely, I had an offer for and I signed for it, done all the testing, the drug screening, did the background check, and then I've been ghosted for a month. I just barely got a response from them saying that plant been shut down for some time, and they're planning on calling me tomorrow to see what needs to go forward. So I'm kind of hopeful now. I just great news. So
yeah, at the same time, you're like, do I actually want to work there? I mean, like, a job's a job, and you want to take a job. But I'd keep my eyes open too if that starts to work out.
Well, this is a very big company. It's very well based all over, and it's a well-known company. So
okay, good.
I'm looking forward to it. So.
Yeah. Hopefully it works out.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Did I miss anybody? I just want to say one quick thing. I think if I remember right, John, with Salt Lake Community College, which for those who don't know, that's SLIC. I think that was like, I don't know that I'm going to interview with them. Wasn't that kind of it? And I might have poked you to interview for that. I think.
Yeah. No, I applied for them. I saw it was a director level position, but it was paying so little. Almost like their range, part of that range was actually 50% less than I was making. But then I went over there and like I interviewed, had a initial screening interview, but actually had the VP in there with a few other of his team members. And I was like, this is okay. It's whatever. And then they like sent me an email saying, hey, we want to push you to the next round, but we need you to put a presentation together. I'm like, do I even really want to put this presentation together? This is ridiculous. Ended up spending hours putting that presentation together, even with using AI, put together a really fancy PowerPoint, Google Slides, and put a lot of work and effort into it. I would say that work and effort actually helped me land this other job because I was so familiar with the project that I was about to present. Because that's what they're asking me to do. It's like, bring us a project that you did all this work on and answers all these 8 questions. And I was able to use that, the not knowledge, but what I remembered from putting that together in the other interviews. And I went and presented. It was like an hour and a half of interviewing with that presentation included. And they treated me so well. I had a host that basically got me from the parking lot and walked me around the campus to meet with different people. I was very impressed. And I had a very hard time sending them, hey, basically a rejection to them. Definitely didn't want to ghost them, but sending that rejection to them because I was very impressed. And if this other role that paid, 40% more than what they ended up offering me, if I had not taken that role, I think I would have been pretty happy at Salt Lake Community, even making so much little. I do feel like this role would not have stretched me though, which could have been nice. But I still have 15 to 20 more years before I retire, so probably need to be stretched for a little while.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I know you're out of time. I'm going to take you off of here, and can everybody give a big round of applause?
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate all your just meeting all of you and going through this together with all of you.
So thanks, John. I wish you the best, and hopefully we'll somewhat stay in touch. If I can ever help fill some of your stuff by if you're hiring, get that in front of some of these people.
Yeah,
all right,
for sure.
I'm going to end the recording. Thank you again, John, for coming.
Yeah, thanks everybody.